This is intended for a mature audience only. Bitches.
Welcome, my fellow deviants, to Raw and Uncut. My name is Megan, and today I am joined by
Randy
and Izzy.
And for those of you who are just joining us, this is a podcast of three friends pushing the boundaries of social norms and bringing them straight to you. For those of you who have been following along, we do have a safe word per every episode, and this week it is patches. So let's take a second and just get into today's topic. All right, we are diving into Dom versus Sub.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm.
Whips and chains excite me.
Well, that is part of it too. So what we'd like to just start with is really the difference here between the two and where or who or what roles consider you a Dom versus a Sub. So let's just go around. Randy, where do you kind of see yourself?
Damn, put me in the hot seat.
Well,
I mean,
The
that's
spotlight's on you.
more like put me in the sex swing. I
came in like
I don't
know.
All right, y'all. He's halfway through a smash. I don't know. I'll be honest. Like,
okay.
I kind of, being who I am, I tend to fall more into that daddy role, which I guess is considered to be more of that Dom role. But at the same time, I also like to be submissive at times.
I got a question with that. So would you say if you were younger, like in your 20s, were you more Sub or were you more Dom?
I think that has to depend on the guy I was with, to be honest.
Okay, so
because for example, it's no secret. My first boyfriend, we've talked about him on the podcast before. I was very sub with him, but I was also brand new into the world. Like, I'd never done anything with a guy until I met him, and we started dating. And then I was in the Navy, but I was very sub with him. So basically, whatever he said was kind of how it went. I was also the bottom in that relationship. After that relationship, I kind of sprouted my wings
okay.
and, started exploring other things. And I mean, predominantly I'm a top now, which, but again, even as a top, I think that there's times that I like to be the submissive top.
Yeah. So we will actually get into the difference there and the correlation between top, bottom, Dom, and Sub. But Izzy, where do you see yourself?
I'm definitely all over the place.
Yeah?
Bouncing back and forth between the roles.
You like to just be bouncing all them balls.
Exactly, while choking them out. It happens.
Yeah.
But I would say in my younger years, it was more like a submissive kind of situation. But then as I got more older, started playing around a little bit more, stepped into that Dom role, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
this is nice. So I started, gravitating to the both of them. I like this from being sub and then this from being Dom. So I'm constantly jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
And it also,
So you
who you're with also impacts it.
So you like to have your cake and eat it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually glad you both kind of said that, because when it comes to the Dom versus Sub world, it's not always so black and white. There are Doms or masters or however they choose to be called, and there's the submissive side. But there are also what we call switches.
Oh, hold on. Before we get into that, we heard what we liked or what we thought we were. We did not hear what you
What
are.
I am. Okay. All right.
You tried to slide out of that
She
one,
really
you sneaky
did,
dog.
and I'm like, yes, go. Please inform.
I am not ashamed. I am submissive. I like the submissive role. Have I tried being dominant? Yes. And I will do it from time to time, but I don't prefer that.
Okay.
So that's where I
I
am.
see how that is.
Yeah.
I mean, again, for me, like I said, I do enjoy being submissive, but it's very, very,
Yeah.
minor amount of time. Most of the time I like to take control.
Yeah. I mean, dipping your toe into it doesn't also make you a switch. It makes you curious, makes you, want to try. Although, should you have a partner that is the same role as you, sometimes it is difficult. You either have to take turns.
So it's like Fight Club up in here if we're both doms.
So usually two doms don't really are attracted to each other. Now, that's not to say that they couldn't try. I mean, there are some people that just even start a relationship and then don't even form these roles until after that, when they start to present. And then at some points, they will either take turns switching, or they will both decide that you will be more dominant than I will. When it comes to the different types of dom sub, it really is an overall branch. Let's say this the umbrella. You got the dom umbrella, you've got the sub umbrella, but underneath there, you've got lots of different, without going too far into it, fetishes that feed into those roles as well.
Right.
So although we have talked about fetishes here and there, when it comes to dom sub specific relationships, the dom usually dictates the fetish start, if that makes sense. Usually the dom, let's just say they're into bondage, which would be their next spoke.
Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense to me, because if I'm the dom in the relationship, it's, I'm the one calling the shots.
Yep.
I'm the one telling you what to do.
Yes.
But isn't that, before this starts, isn't that conversation had before?
Yes. So
I think so, but I mean,
Between-
I'm sure there's times out there where, you go into something and you haven't had that
like it's a
discussion.
surprise?
Yeah.
yes, that happens as well.
Okay. As long as you're not fisting.
I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah. So usually
Usually why there's a little bike horn on the sex swing,
that's why there's
God.
usually a safe word
Mm-hmm.
that they use.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, safe word is big in the dom sub world because of those reasons. Like the dom could say, "Yes, I'm into bondage," and their sub be okay with that. But what they don't know is they're completely strapped down, unable to move
Yeah,
from head to toe.
that would come more into like the BDSM type role.
Yep, which is another part of the umbrella.
Right.
And that is why there are, a healthy dom sub has the safe words, has that conversation. There will be times when I was in a sub role and a dom did not tell me everything.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the general senses. We'll go back to the ask dom, and he put me on my knees and had me look up, and here I'm thinking he's going to have me suck his dick,
Mm-hmm.
and he asked me to chin up, so I chinned up and he spit on me.
Ooh.
I did not know that was going to happen, and I am not okay with spit.
Yeah.
You don't know how bad that, exactly what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
What?
I
What?
can't say.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Why not? I'm poking now. What are y'all talking about? I'm out of the loop.
That's right. You've
Me
been
and my
gone too
fellow
long.
deviants gather around. What are you holding back?
Nothing.
Mhm. Are you sure about that? You're giggling over there.
Yes.
So the spit. How? Okay.
Yes, because spit is actually a form of degradation, which is a sub part of the dom sub world.
Mhm.
You'll have people that like to degrade. Now that can be a typical gender male, gender female, whichever gender you identify with, but it's usually used as a degrading technique. And even though I am sub, I don't prefer to be degraded.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to, even in a sub kind of position, I wouldn't want to be spit on.
Yeah.
Probably would spit on somebody. Oh.
Yeah.
But not be spit on.
I mean, I think there are certain places where spit is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Straight on
In
my
the booty
face
hole.
or in my mouth, not okay.
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 He's just chomping at
going-
the bit to share this. Go ahead, Randy.
I don't really want to.
Yes, you do.
Booty hole you spit
Oh,
in?
yes, you do.
No. This is probably the closest I've come to using a safe word.
Yes. Let's get
Come
it.
on.
Come
I
on.
have been the spitter.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yes. So I had
On the
this
face?
guy one time
Mm-hmm.
that came over to my house. He was definitely in the sub world. He wanted a dom. He basically wanted somebody to tell him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically told him, like, look, tell me when you get here. And then I just told him what to do from the moment he got out of his car. He wanted me to tell him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it was come in. I left the door unlocked for him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Come in, get undressed, and just start giving me a blowjob.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Boring crowd, but okay.
well,
Oh, it's a
so
start.
then, that was the start of it. And then, we ended up starting to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got him on his back, and he looks up at me, and he's like, spit in my mouth.
That's kind of hot.
So I did it.
How did you feel about it?
I don't know. It felt weird at first,
Yeah.
but then I did it again without him asking.
See, in sex mode, I'm not thinking. I'm reacting.
Yeah, I don't
I don't care.
know.
Like, yeah. So
Like, yes, bitch.
I've been the spitter. I don't know that I could have somebody spit in my mouth, though.
Yeah.
I could not do that. Now
No.
that
No.
would be an immediate turnoff. I'd be like, get the fuck off
Yeah.
me.
It was gross. It was gross. I would not have that again. But as a
And
sub,
I mean, and he wanted like full on, like not like
big
little,
spit. Yeah.
spit.
The
It was
glop?
like
Yeah.
hockaloogie spit.
Ooh, you grabbed it from the back. You just really like charged it up.
Right?
God.
Brought it from down deep.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Use water gun. Squirtle.
So gross. I can't. I'm not belittling anybody that does love that.
I mean, honestly, it was for
but-
me, quite honestly, it's the first time I'd ever done it.
Mm-hmm.
I was honestly turned on by doing it.
Mhm.
I just don't know that I could ever let somebody spit on me.
Yeah.
Just my butthole.
I
Yeah.
mean, for me, it's like peeing on somebody. I could easily pee on somebody, but I could not. I don't know that I could let them pee on me.
I don't know. I
It's a
guess
hard
it's
one
that
too.
one time you get the offer and you're right then and there.
I might have to be
You won't
4 or
know.
5 smashes in.
You might have to be.
Izzy,
Yeah.
3.5.
3. I was gonna say.
Introduced to tequila.
Right?
Yeah.
So, oof.
But
Okay.
yeah. So back to the Dom sub thing.
Mhm.
So when it comes to those kind of acts, if there is no conversation or start from your Dom, even though we are submissive, it is also our job to let our Dom know if there's something that
Mhm.
is out of bounds. It is important to respect boundaries and make sure that both parties have consent.
Have you being more in the sub world,
Yeah.
have you ever come across a Dom that pushes that boundary? Like you say, I'm not into spit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever come across someone who will just spit on you because they know you're not into it?
No. When I have communicated with the DOMs that I've had in the past, they have always respected my boundary. Thankfully.
They've pushed them.
They have, I would say, one that I had when I told them I did not enjoy being degraded, would still run that line of calling me names without really calling me bad names. Like they would kind of tease the subject, I guess.
Like dirty talk? Like,
Yeah. Like I don't mind dirty talk, but when you call me a stupid bitch, that's
Oh, it's
kind
back
of
to the
like-
degrading.
yeah. So that, but then when they flip it around and instead of calling me a stupid bitch, they were like, I know you like that because you don't know better. So then it would be a little lighter, but you still are calling me a stupid bitch.
Yeah. I'm like getting dick down while making calculations. Like, what did he say?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's rubbing the boundary, but I've never felt uncomfortable.
I mean,
with-
is it much different though than people who like the whole like call them a filthy slut?
I mean, that's part of degradation.
You know,
Yeah.
It depends.
you know, you like that, you little cum whore.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
we all know that's Izzy's nickname.
Yeah.
Whatever. But y'all can use it.
I mean, it's very common for DOMs to give their sub, especially if it's a constant sub,
Right.
their own names.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What?
Nothing. But what else? What other names? Are there specific names that the subs? Because I know Doms would prefer to be called like Sir or Master or whatever, but do sub have particular names they prefer to go by?
Well, yeah. So in the Dom world now, Doms can be male or female. So there have been master, there has been teacher. It's mostly in a name of authority is where they would take it. Daddy.
I prefer Poppy.
Poppy.
Just saying.
Yes. Yes.
Ugh.
Along those lines.
Poppy is a turnoff.
And then when it comes to
I like my Latin men.
Yeah. When it comes to their sub, it's usually a little more of the feminine side of our, I don't know, what do you call it? Grammar or whatever.
Mhm.
Princess, darling,
Princess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
That one probably make me feel too pedophile-ish, I think.
Yeah. But one time I was a Dom, I think that I was called mistress.
That I could see.
But yeah.
Princess?
Yeah.
My
I had
little
one,
princess?
I had
Nah.
one called me my princess.
I'm really thinking about it now because
Mhm.
when in the Dom role, I never think about what to call the sub, but the sub is always attentive of what they want to call me.
Yes.
But the sub, I'm like, oops, sorry, I hit the mic.
Mhm.
But it's always been like, whatever I choose to call you, it's what it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yep. So that's part of it. But one of the kind of things that I wanted to ask you guys about is with this 50 Shades of Grey that came out, right? So do you feel like there was an increase in the roles of more Dom versus sub, or more people coming out after the 50 Shades of Grey came out?
I personally think it's always been there. Just 50 Shades of Grey just shined a light to it and normalized it. So people were like, oh, now we can talk about it. Like, so that's what I think happened with that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree with that too. I think it's just like anything out there. And I mean, just like what we're doing with this podcast, we are out there. We're talking about pushing our boundaries and stuff like that and how it's okay to push boundaries. That's literally what that movie did for a Dom v Sub world is it told you how to push those boundaries and it told you that it was okay to push those boundaries. I can personally say I think I've maybe seen half of one of those
Of the movies?
movies. But
Shoot,
I
got my own
understand the concepts behind them.
Yeah.
I mean, even with that, like there, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a spin-off of that where it's like the 50 Shades of Gay is essentially the same thing. It's another movie. I think it was made in Europe and Britain or something like that, where they literally, it's just a similar storyline, but just in a gay world. So, and I just think that those movies made it okay. Just like this podcast is hopefully doing for people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why movies are important too.
well,
because
that's
they
why
really-
it's important to speak your truth.
Yeah.
Be who you are, do what you want to do and what makes you happy, because at the end of the day, you're not the only person out there doing it.
Right.
You might be the only person out there talking about it. A lot of us, I mean, the three of us have been putting our business on Front Street now for a couple months with this podcast and even then some. But, it's nice, I will say, having people who listen to our podcast come up to us in public or send us messages, about how we've helped them push their boundaries.
Yeah.
And hopefully with this Dom V Sub, we do the same.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you realize how many people actually, they're like, oh my God, yeah, I'm thinking about that too. Or like, I had a similar experience about that. And you're like, oh, it's not just me dealing with that or have encountered something like that.
Right. Now, I wanted to ask you before we get too much more deep into this, like, is it like, I'm not in that whole Dom v Sub world very, very much. I do get, like I said, I get kind of categorized as the Dom just because of being the daddy or the bear role, right? But
The barrel.
bear role.
Sorry. The smash is hit.
The barrel. Are you trying to call me fat?
No.
Nah.
We got barrels around us.
But correct me if I'm wrong now, or I think I'm right, actually. The Dom v sub role, there is the misconception out there that it's predominantly based or inherently based in pain focus and violence, correct?
That's very true.
And that's not the case.
That's correct. It is not the case.
So
there are, of course, those ones who tend to go more to the BDSM with pain, but there are also, you can be in a Dom sub role without pain. It's all about your partner's needs. If your Dom is one of those ones who needs to inflict pain, and I can't for the life of me right this second, there is a name for it. Masochist, I think.
Oh, yeah, there's one that likes to inflict pain, one likes to receive pain.
Receive pain. Yeah, and that's usually where you will see the pain factor come into Dom versus sub roles.
I'm Googling.
Okay. Pretty sure it's masochist. But should it could be a very dangerous situation if one is into pain, if the Dom is better into inflicting and the sub is not receiving.
Correct. It is a masochist.
Masochist. Okay, so
2 points.
Woo! There are times though, you will mostly find any type of pain infliction from the Dom to the sub. It's very rare that the Dom will take pain from a sub.
Because he's a pussy.
Well.
Oh, wait. The sadist inflicts pain.
The sadist.
The masochist enjoys it.
And receives it.
Oh,
yes. Okay, so I was backward. Yes. I was close. But there
Future
is,
episodes.
There we go. There does not have to be pain in a Dom sub pairing.
So, I mean, it comes back to that whole thing, like you were saying in the beginning, where you have the Dom umbrella and then that kind of falls underneath of it.
So what do you say the generalized definition of a Dom?
I guess it's just the person who takes charge, if you ask me.
Who gives directions, who basically calls the shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't a sub do that, though? But no.
I mean, I guess there probably is a subculture of sub that's like sub-Dom, maybe.
No. Because it would be like a Dom bottom kind of situation.
I mean, I'm sure there's Dom bottoms out there.
If y'all out there, hi.
Which kind of brings me right into my next point of topic that I wanted to go into. So does gender or sexual position preference change the meaning of Dom versus sub? Like does a top versus a bottom correlate to Dom versus sub?
I don't think so. I think because it's like I go back to the beginning with what I said in the beginning, like I'm predominantly a top. Do I bottom? Yes, on occasion. 9 times out of 10, whoever I bottom for, those who I'm in a relationship with. But as, a top, I still 90% of the time, I'll say I assume that Dom role. But there is that 10% of the time where I like, that sub role. I don't even know if it's really sub role.
What was the question again?
So does gender or the sexual position preference change the meaning of Dom versus sub? Like there's top versus bottom, Dom versus sub. Top always have to be Dom? And is that usually how it's seen in the gay culture?
I'm trying to change that.
I mean, geez, cut me off. Why don't you?
I was just trying to get clear because I'm hearing you talk, but I'm like, okay, where are we? The question.
He's so drunk, I'm sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher. But like for me, for example, like being a top, there is that 10% of the time where I enjoy being, even though I am the top in that relationship, I enjoy being told what to do.
Yes, bitch.
Whatever.
So a sub top is what you're saying.
Kind of, yeah. Just like he was just saying a minute ago, like a Dom bottom.
Yeah.
I believe that the position in my mind will always outweigh it. And so I believe that like if you are a top, most of the time you are going to fall into that Dom role.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily I wouldn't sit here and say that is 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Not in my eyes.
What do you think, Izzy?
I am definitely in the middle.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to roles, typically, what I've seen from experience, the tops are the more dom ones, and the bottoms are the more submissive ones. But I think it would be extremely hot to like flip those roles, like, you know, tops being the subs. And I know they're out there. I just haven't encountered. Ooh, wait, I had a flashback. So,
Story time.
But I've had a situation where there was a guy that was like, I'm a total top, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm a verse. You know, I like both. I started kissing his neck, messing with his ear, and his ass perked up. I was like, say no more. Dicked him down good. And then it turned into a situation where he was like a submissive top. No, submissive kind of situation, but he was a top supposedly. But I think it's hot where it's like there could be that sub top or dom bottom. I just haven't seen a lot of it in my experience. Most of the time.
Like I said, I don't think that there is a lot of it out there.
Yeah.
I think the position, your sexual position, I think will ultimately dictate for the most part, but I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as to say that that's what it is 100% of the time. But what I will say is that I would enjoy being in a dom on dom fight club.
Now, I've seen situations where
dom on dom sex club.
and this is in the gay world kind of situation where the guy up front likes to be masculine. So they're like, I've been in situations where they're like, in the relationship, the face of the relationship, I will say, not like, you know,
Behind closed doors.
behind closed doors. They like to fish, they like to hunt, they like to do all these masculine, what's considered masculine attributes, or going to sports events, whatever you think is masculine. But behind closed doors, they're like the most submissive. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? I think that's kind of hot though, because I'm like, yeah, bitch. But I don't know how to explain that dynamic. Like, what?
It's actually pretty common. Most of the doms you see, especially in the female roles that are doms, subs, females that are subs, are dominant during their normal everyday job.
Right.
House.
I think that goes not just for females, but I think for males too. You get a lot of people in my profession, you know, that have demanding jobs in law enforcement and stuff like that, you know, are so dominant in their workplace. They have to be, so that way then when they go home, they like to be taken care of. They like to be nurtured, and then they end up falling into that sub world.
Nurturing.
What?
Well, you're a truck driver. It's not much dominant about
I
that.
took another sip.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the role I'm in my normal day-to-day job. I'm very dominant. I have to take charge. But when I come home and I'm done with what housework I got to do, I enjoy not having to make any more decisions. I really just tell me what I need to do and let me go.
Get in that kitchen and make me some brownies.
I'm about to stab you. But I can get that. Like just releasing
brownies?
control.
You're gonna go get brownies?
Goodbye. Why don't you give me some popcorn? Oh man.
I don't know. What about, so I mean, we kind of touched on the top and bottoms aspects of it. Do you see in the heterosexual world that often where that gender dictates it morally? Morally? Is that even a word? I don't know.
I think historically men are more the dominant. A lot of that too, I've come across doms that choose to be dom because that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, we talked about the whole gender norms thing and how men are not supposed to cry.
So do you see, well, what I was talking about, like the guys are typically like looking at the front or, you know, surface level, they're the masculine, but behind closed doors, they're more likely to be feminine. I mean, not feminine, but submissive, I should say.
I don't know.
What about your current one?
What about him?
Because he seems more dom and he seems more dom in public.
Randy's getting messy.
No, he's dumb. Not I would not say a traditional dom where it's absolutely all the time. We actually call it there's different kinds of doms. I don't remember all of them. I usually only do research when I've encountered a new one.
Is this a new one?
I've had he's considered a pleasure dom.
Oh,
A pleasure dom.
Yeah.
what's that?
Tell me.
Pleasure doms, although
I'm taking notes.
although they enjoy taking all the decisions, they want to dictate the position, they want to dictate the place, what happens if things are used. But it is more important to them that their sub is satisfied. So it's actually more of a give and take.
I can kind of see that.
I kind of like that though, because that would balance out with
I kind of see that. I mean, I never really necessarily looked at it like that, because I mean, in all openness and transparency, yes, I've been drinking too. Not as much as Izzy, but in all openness and transparency, even when I'm the dom, and I'm topping or whatever, I get more enjoyment and pleasure out of watching the bottom be pleasured. And I enjoy seeing that pleasure and stuff on their face, and it's more of a turn on for me. And I play off of that in what I'm telling them to do, if that makes sense. So then you would lean more towards the pleasure dom. Now, there are doms out there that don't give a fuck if their sub is satisfied. Oh, yeah.
So there are just so many different.
I'm hiding under my blankets.
That just reminded me that the guy that wanted me to spit, he was also into he wanted me to beat him. Slap him around.
He liked the degradation as part of as part of that as well.
Every time he hit me with his teeth, he wanted me to hit him upside the head.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow! Slap me once, bitch. Like that'll be it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see that. He definitely is that kind of a person.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But there is a website out there. If you guys are interested in finding where you fall, it's bdsmtest.org.
All right, I'm going to write this down.
I think I've actually seen this on people's dating profiles.
You will. Mine was on my it helps. It was on one of my last picture on my dating profile was a screenshot of where I laid. So it goes through, asks you a bunch of questions. It's super important that you answer honestly, because what it does is it takes your kinks, your
Is it a long test?
I think it took me maybe 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's a long test. I was going to do it here and give her.
Oh, do it right now.
Do it while we were doing this.
Yeah, I mean BDSM is a part of those umbrella terms, because you got bondage and discipline, dom and sub, which is what we're talking about, and then sadism and masochism, which a lot of them overlap a lot. And what this will do is it will gauge your level of dominance, your level of sub, whether you're more sadist, more masochist, a rope bunny, or a rigger. You're looking at me like I have no idea what you just said.
No, I'm a rigger.
Okay, I was going to say.
A rigger?
A rigger. Those are the ones that use the ropes to tie up the bunnies.
I like to tie them up.
Yep.
And here, I think you were getting oil.
Yeah.
No. And Izzy's a rope bunny, just for y'all that need to know.
What?
He likes to be tied up.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Then there's, of course, master, mistress, and slave, which is another. There is some controversy whether this is still considered more of a dom sub thing, but it is master slave.
somebody one time, I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't think it's right at all, but they brought up the whole slave.
Interesante. Please continue.
And like, I just feel some sort of way about that.
Yeah.
Especially, when they are Black or African American and they bring it up like they want you to treat them that way. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I just can't do that. Like, he was full into it too. Like, he wanted me to use the derogatory terms and everything else. And I'm like,
That's a rough one.
I can't do that. No. That's the boundary I will not cross.
Yeah, that is the slave is a more strict version of a sub. Is basically what they are.
I mean, now, don't get me wrong. Like, I can put
Yeah.
a bottom in a Princess Leia outfit and
Sure.
hook her some chains like Jabba did.
Yeah. But
That's for our Star Wars fans out there.
yeah. So that
Izzy thought that was Star Trek, by the way, y'all.
No. I know what you're talking about. The people in the costumes and the stuff.
So the last ones are, so you've got degraders, degradees, owners and pets. So you will, I've actually just, where did I go? I went to DC. DC? Yes, DC this past year for their Pride Fest.
Oh, yeah, I was with you.
And there was a lot.
You were there too, Izzy.
I was super gay.
Yeah, you were gay.
Yes. And there was
You looked like Harley Quinn if she had a dick.
a group that
Mission accomplished.
had one owner and there was about 4 pets walking around. It was the first time I'd ever seen that type of role.
Wait, how did you know they were pets? They had collars or something?
Collars
Yeah,
and
most
masks.
of them do wear collars. I think if I'm not mistaken, and we'll get into it in a fetish when we get into that, because we're going to get into specific fetishes. But I think if I'm not mistaken, if they're collared, they're with someone. If they've got a tag, they belong to them.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to look at it some more. And I've got a couple friends who are into that thing, so I'll see if one of them can join us for that episode.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
There are brats and brat tamers.
is that like kindergarten teachers and kindergartners?
That's like the brat is the naughty submissive.
Oh,
She breaks the rules.
Am I a brat?
Kind of, I guess, kind of like a teacher student type
maybe.
thing.
Okay.
Then you have more of your primals. So you have your hunter and your prey. Daddy, mommy,
You're
boy,
definitely
girl, age play, exhibition. I mean, it goes on for so long. But what I really wanted to hit home here is that this website will ask you all different kinds of questions to see where you would fall on that. And I wish I could have found what I did with mine, but as soon as I deleted my dating profile, I think I deleted the picture too.
Why'd you do that?
I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to delete your dating profile?
Oh, no, that I did. I didn't mean to delete my... Yeah, that one's gone. No dating profiles. But my picture...
So what you're saying is, for our deviant listeners out there, the stories we get from Megan are all going to be old.
Okay.
Just saying.
Moving forward, they will be my experience. Well, depending. I guess it depends on our topic of choice.
Of course.
Maybe. I mean, we do have what?
What?
Oh.
No. Nothing.
Okay. Something's going on.
Nah.
I'm just swimming.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You keep swimming over there, Dory.
How are you?
All right. So give us a comment or anything if you end up finding that website helpful.
I'm
going to take that test.
You should.
And that'll be our cleanup in one of our episodes that comes out after this one. And
Yeah.
hey, I don't have no shame. I'll tell you where I fall.
I'll retake it.
I think we should all take it and see where we fall.
If it calls me a brat, I'm going to be upset. I'm like, how
Well, that's
fuck
such a
me.
bratty move.
You might be upset about that, but it might be true. Yep.
Yeah, I think we should. And then we'll clean it up in an episode after this of, where we fall on the list. And
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Attach it to our
post
dating
it.
profiles.
Yeah, you can check it out on our website. We'll post them up.
That's true. Check it out on our website. Check it out on the Facebook page.
Yep.
Or whatever. So, so yeah.
So I want to. So, in all of the boundary pushing, do you think that there is one? Still talking about dom versus sub, that is better or preferred over the other one?
You mean like
Personally,
dom over sub?
Dom over sub.
Well, I mean, now that I found out that I'm actually a pleasure sub or a pleasure dom,
You feel better about it?
I mean, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
It does make more sense. Again, I go back to the fact that, 90% of the time I'm dom, whereas the 10% of the time I do like to be sub, even if I am the top, And there are times that I have been a bottom and been dom, So for me, I would have to say that I generally lean towards dom just because I very much am not the type of person who likes to let somebody else take control.
Okay.
And so as long as I can control the narrative, then I can control the outcome. And so that's kind of why I'm more lean toward that, So, whereas there are times where I've given that control over to somebody else and it gets fucked up,
Yeah.
So I guess it's been bad experience. And so that's why even, like I said in the beginning, is like normally when I bottom for people that I'm in a relationship with.
Yeah.
When I sub, it's the same thing. It kind of goes hand in hand with that because I don't want to give that control over to somebody that I don't know. So that's just my opinion on that one.
okay. So the question is more like the preferred, whether I'm all over the place again with it because and I think about past relationships and what dictated kind of like because sometimes that does influence the role for me because I'm more flippy between the two. So there are situations where like the top is just not good at it.
Well, yeah, I think
So that's where the dom side starts to come in.
out.
I start
Okay.
taking more control. I'm like, I'm about to flip you and dick you down kind of situation. But if the dick is good, I'm a sub. Like I'm just perked up like, yay.
Yeah.
right.
And then there's just situations like the energy of the room kind of thing, like we're clashing, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it's like we're two doms kind of like fight,
I still want to find this dom fight club.
whatever.
But
But I like it all.
yeah. I mean, that's okay. You can be a switch, but
And we come back to come whore.
Stop. But that would be like just, okay, two dicks.
but what I mean is, do you guys think that more in our culture, one is preferred over the other?
Well, I think if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're asking is like stereotypically, are we looking, is perception looking for one over the other?
Correct.
I think that goes more so not necessarily to sexual position. I
Okay.
think that comes down to just the fact that stereotypically, especially, and I mean, on the straight side, and even on the gay side, like we had this conversation not too long ago and about roles in relationships is, there is that big push to be masculine. And then along with that comes that understanding that if I'm masculine, I'm supposed to be dominant.
In the gay world, I see a lot of like, where the top's at? Where's the dom top's at?
Right.
And stuff like that. And I'm like, they don't really exist. It's like, it's
Yeah.
a fluid environment there when it comes to their personality.
And that's
it's a
exactly how it
stereotype.
should be. It should be a fluid environment, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But you do see it a lot where they end up taking on one role or the other.
Yeah.
So
To that question, I see a lot of like attraction towards wanting that dom, wanting that person that takes control of the situation or in the bedroom, knows what he wants, has those masculine qualities. I've seen a lot of that tossed around versus wanting someone more submissive.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal experience of what I've seen.
yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
What about you?
So I would say looking into the gay world, I see the lack of dominance or more of dominant roles when we go out.
Oh, looking into our world?
Looking into your world. When I compare it to mine, we're flooded with doms.
Well, yeah, I can see that because, again, it comes back to that straight male, machismo.
Yeah.
That's why gay people are always trying to turn straight people, straight guys.
It's like
oh, man, I didn't think about that.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I will tell you this. So this is kind of going to make me the cum whore, maybe.
Yeah.
Queen.
Whatever. When I was younger and I was stationed overseas,
Yes, bitch.
there was a friend of mine. We both worked in the same place, lived in the same place, and we used to have this running bet, like kind of when new people would check in, who could turn them the fastest.
Oh, okay.
And so we had this back and forth, and we actually had a little whiteboard that we kept track of.
That's so horrible.
Nasty. But I'm already putting my bet.
So we used to have this, thing of who could turn them the fastest. And we had our different styles on what we would do. And
what was your style? What was your turning people to the dark side?
So knowing me, I'm more of a macho guy.
You would look at them and play your nipple?
No,
like
I just do the normal guy stuff. Go to the bar with them, hang out, play Call of Duty, drink beer,
watch porn together.
To be the
watch
bro.
porn
Jerk off,
together.
jerk
Like
off
we would
together.
jerk off
I
together.
always knew those bitches were gay.
And then inevitably would end up as, well, you want to suck my dick? I'll suck your dick.
And they would do it?
I had a Marine one time, was straight, had a girlfriend, came over to my barracks room. Now, I don't think I've said it on the podcast, but I was a medic in the military. I was a corpsman.
Okay.
But a Marine came over to my barracks room and asked me to look at something for him. I was thinking, okay, here we go. I done caught the STD. And he gets up on my bed and he shows me his ass. And I was like, I'm not seeing anything.
No, I can see it.
And he's like, I know. You want to eat it?
No, but I'll stick something in it.
I did.
Of course.
So.
Wait, you ate his ass out?
Why not?
I don't know where it's been. The fuck? Let me get my rubber glove first.
It was clean.
Okay.
So then I dicked him down.
There you go.
Okay. I mean, I would just skip to the dick down, but that's just me.
But yeah, so I mean, anyway. So that about wraps up our episode of Raw and Uncut, my fellow deviants. Just to kind of let you guys know, we might have to take a short break here. One of us fell down the stairs and broke our ankle and had to have surgery.
Wah, wah, wah.
But we might have to take us just a small break just to kind of catch up with that and everything. So if we do, we'll hit you guys back very shortly and we'll let you guys know what's going on. But if you want to know more about our show or reach out to our hosts, you can head over to our website. That's rawanduncutcast, CAST.com. You can reach out to our host there, drop us a line, tell us what you think. It's got the links to all of our shows, all of our Facebook pages, our Facebook page.
Yeah.
We only have one.
We're working.
And be sure to follow and share us on all your favorite platforms. But before we go, like we say always, remember in any dominant or subordinate, that just goes to show you how much I've been drinking.
I know, right?
In any dom or sub role relationship, consent is always the key. Once you push past consent, that becomes rape.
Yes.
Okay. So make sure you have their consent. Make sure you have that conversation with them before you go down the pathway of darkness.
Don't just spit in my fucking face.
Right. So, and as always, choose your safe word wisely.
I think I'm a brat.